a Playlyst original.
Welcome to the Pilot Podcast,
where we review the pilot episodes of TV shows to answer your question, should I watch this?
My name is Mitu.
And my name is BJ.
And this week, we're watching The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives on Hulu.
So stay tuned to find out if Mitu's going to start her own TikTok group.
Yeah, really stay tuned for that. Just edge of your seat.
Mitu Talk.
Yikes. Until then, why don't you let us know what happened in this first episode?
Sure. First, we go back to 2022 when Utah influencer Taylor Frankie Paul went viral for revealing that she and her husband had been soft swinging with other Mormon couples. Now this series begins months later as Taylor and her group of influencer friends, also known as Momtok, deal with the fallout of the scandal.
I'm so sorry, but the term soft swinging makes me laugh every single time.
It's not full swinging.
I just don't know what it means, and I don't want to know. Don't email. Don't tell me.
They talk about it in the episode.
They guessed at it, and even that was too much. No one tell me, please. But my goodness, it was like a buzzword. Like soft swinging, soft swinging. Let me stop saying that. But there's just, it cracked me up every time.
I think that goes at what's odd about this show is we see more like internet cultural terms, soft swinging, mom talk, influencers, mixed with Mormonism, which is very religious based. It's about, for these women, about being good mothers and wives. And you don't really see that crossover much in media.
And you see for some of the moms that some of their parents are higher ups or very involved in the church. So it's not just being part of Mormonism, but for many of them, I think, even a more conservative following of it or expectation of a conservative following, thus clashing with like twerking on TikTok with your friends.
For sure. They have a lot of expectations and pressure from their family, from the church. And they said that they formed Momtok as a way for them to kind of have some fun and be a little freer and do more than just be the stay-at-home mom.
One of the quotes from this first episode was actually, "Is it a bunch of swingers or are we a bunch of Mormon women fighting the patriarchy?" So their dancing is a way for them to kind of fight outside the bounds of what they believe that they're restricted to.
I can see that. And I'd say they are restricted because they can get like blacklisted from their church, their family, their friends. And so they really are rebelling by doing these dances. Hopefully they're having fun doing it, although the Taylor controversy has definitely stressed them out and their reputation.
Yes, which brings us to the central clash, I think, of the show beyond their own internal cultural clashes with what they want to do versus some expectations. Is just a classic reality TV show. Do you want to go with this queen bee or this queen bee? And in this case, it's Taylor who exposed the soft swinging. And then we have Whitney, who disappeared to Hawaii for a while, but she's back in Utah. She seemed to have blamed Taylor for her disappearance to Hawaii after Taylor came out with the soft swinging of it all. But it turns out in this first episode that there's more to that story, and a rift really deepens between them.
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting because both of them are part of the original group of mom talkers, Momtok women. There's also Macy and Michaela, who was one of the people who started this. And now we see that they have to decide what direction do they want to go with, because we also learn the other swinging mom talkers with Taylor aren't in the group. Like, they left. So I can see why some of these other girls are nervous about having Taylor come back.
Well, the central question through this whole first episode has been, can Momtok even survive this? And unfortunately, I've been saying that a lot. Like, I stub my toe. Can Momtok even survive this? I want to order delivery. The person's late. Can Momtok even survive this? So it is a big question that is hanging over many of us.
True. And I will say on a more serious note, after reading an article, some of these women are the main breadwinners through their influencer deals. So they do need Momtok to support their family.
A lot of them. My friend described this show as child brides dancing for family earnings on TikTok.
That is one way to look at it, for sure.
I think that's another part of that interesting cultural clash is this idea of these more conservative ideals of where their place is in the home. And then the fact that ultimately this thing that is seen as silly is actually them really earning money for their homes. And so it is, to your point, very serious. It feels unserious to hear the question, can Momtok even survive this? But frankly, it's a real one because when your mortgage is tied up to you and your friends getting together to do these little dances, or the food for you and your children, or whatever else you need, whatever necessities is coming from these dances, and then the brand partnerships and deals that come with these dances, and how many of these brand partnerships, if your brand is centered around like being sort of a wholesome character, can continue if you have been exposed or accused of being a soft swinger.
Well, Taylor admitted to it, so exposed.
Yes. Taylor exposed. The rest, I don't know. I wasn't there at the parties.
They claimed they weren't part of the swinging parties. Although one of them, interestingly enough, said she was at the parties where the swinging happened, but was unaware that it was going on.
Yeah, that was interesting. She was like, everyone was acting weird, and I think they were looking at my husband too much. I don't know. We just went home. And it's like, girl, you were being invited to soft swing, allegedly.
Honestly, that's the best way to react. Be like, that's weird. Well, have a good night, everyone.
I feel like that's the energy you and I bring to any environment where we're like, that's odd. All right, y'all, have a good one.
Yeah. We won't ask any more questions.
Nope.
Take care.
One thing about me, I go home. I love going home.
So, me too. You didn't answer the question. Are you Team Taylor or Team Whitney?
I'm Team Taylor.
Oh.
Do you see how I didn't even hesitate?
I know. You knew the answer.
I think Taylor has star power. I think Whitney has villainous star power. Mind you, there's not anyone I'm specifically rooting for or against. Mm-hmm. I just think Taylor is a more compelling protagonist, and then Whitney is compelling as foil to that protagonist. Though I will say, I think, and I understand reality TV is chopped and screwed, so I don't know if we got this straight up, but Whitney reveals something to the girls who then prompt Taylor to kind of reveal something. And Whitney seems upset that Taylor talked about this very serious subject. And I thought that the way Whitney was upset about it was like very crass.
Ooh, I can see that. The show is definitely centered around Taylor. She has the majority of screen time, and we see more of what's going on in her personal life than we do with some of the other moms. So I can see it being a Team Taylor show. And I believe she stands in the center during the opening as well.
She's a center peach. Okay. That makes sense.
It's her show. She is Momtok.
So Momtok will survive if it's in Taylor's really careful hands. As long as she don't get on live no more.
Yeah, they just need to pre-record everything and screen it by everyone in Momtok before they post.
Taylor going on live reminds me of this app idea that I once heard on this podcast I love called The Read, where I want to say they called the app like Your Smart Friend or something like that. And it was like, if you want to go live or if you want to post, and if it's after a certain hour or just at a particular time where it's likely that you're partying or not thinking straight, it asks you some questions. Hey, what's 4 + 4 before we do this? Hey, let's think critically. Do we really want to share this thing? And then it just prompts you and stops you and makes you do some like thinking and reflecting before going live. And I think should that sentient app exist, and it probably does in some form, Taylor would benefit from it.
But then the internet would be less interesting.
That's true. This show wouldn't exist if that app were like connected to her TikTok.
We would never know about what's really going on with Taylor's life.
Or if Momtok can even survive this.
Well, me too. Now that is still a running question, will you keep watching more episodes of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives on Hulu to see what happens to Momtok?
Yes, because I think that they frame it really interestingly where the show is centered around Taylor and Whitney, but we do get to know the other girls and they're very compelling as well. I do want to add one more point that the reason I can't say would watch again seriously, and I'd probably watch again casually and would recommend to other sensitive TV viewers, is they talk about some heavy subjects. So a lot of these women talk about kind of being forced into marriage. A lot of these women talk about how young they were when they met their husbands or ex-husbands. One had a particularly unsettling age difference. Actually, a couple had particularly unsettling age differences with their spouses. And so there are things that if you are a little sensitive viewer like me, there were some things that were said that kind of genuinely made my stomach turn. So it's very interesting and I want to watch more. I just can't marathon it. And a lot of the reviews I've seen online have been similar, where it feels like a show that reality TV show Hive would digest really easily. But there are some difficult subjects. I've seen people say that they need to take like decompression breaks from it. And I'm one of those people as well.
For sure. I don't know if this is really my style of show, but I think if you are looking for a reality show, this is one to check out casually. It definitely has heavy topics, and I'm surprised how honest and straightforward all of the moms are about their Mormon beliefs and their lives going on, because I know sometimes they try to paint things a little more positive, but they're just really straightforward, like, this happened, I did this because my family believes this, and I believe that, which I think is really interesting. So if you want to learn more about one version of Mormonism as well, this could be a good show.
That's true. I think also the honesty in the show is because they filmed it, I think, within a couple months of Taylor going live on TikTok and talking about all the stuff that was happening. Mm-hmm. And so it's still kind of raw, but they're distant enough from it that they can talk about it. And it appears that their main connection is like dancing with each other in front of a phone. So it sort of forces some honesty where it's not like you're covering for a really close friend or you have any other reason you're coming to the table other than the shared cultural background and this shared interest in making money together.
Okay, so me too. When you create your content creator house, your influencer cohort, what will it be about?
I cannot create a content creator house influencer cohort. I think you and I even watched a show once about a content creator house. I was overwhelmed by the concept of living with people just to make TikToks together. I recognize that people do that, and people do that to great success, much more money than I have. Clearly, you're doing very well. I do not have the stomach for that. I just cannot fathom being like, all right, BJ, here's the schedule for today. We get up at 9 a.m. By 10 a.m.
Why am I there?
I'm not doing it without you. Like, we're recording this ad, then we got to learn this dance by 11, then maybe, half-hour lunch break at noon, unless it's a union production, then an hour, then we're back to, like, more dances. It's just a little bit much for me. I just get overwhelmed at the thought of gathering people specifically to do business, and business being in front of a camera doing dances and filming ads and things. As you know, I love having people in my house, but like to lay or watch TV, read, play board games.
I get it. You're still in the brainstorming phase. You're working on how to make it fit in your lifestyle. In the meantime, you can listen to more episodes of our podcast at our website, thepilotpodcast.com, and follow us on all of your favorite podcast platforms.
You can also follow us on social media at The Pilot Pod on Instagram, TikTok, and X. You can send thoughts, feelings, show recommendations, because every other week, just like this one, we do a show recommended by you, our wonderful listeners. Ooh, and your thoughts on if Momtok can even survive this, to askthepilotpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.
Bye.